Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. This is the M53 M55. It's the Tier 9 American SPG. This one's located on the north spawn of Mountain Pass, and it's under the command of a fingernail clipping. And yes, he's bringing his own unique style in this two-part video, both featuring Tier 9 Arties. Game on. Well, it's the 8-inch howitzer, 203mm caliber, and it's capable of doing 900 alpha, 52mm of pen, with 10.5 meters on the burst radius and between 12.5 and 28 seconds of stun. Now, the standard reload by the book is 40.27 seconds, but he's managed to knock that down to 30.53. And he's got a bunch of his teammates going down the bridge road right now. He's loaded and ready to go, but he's going to change position, I think, to get a better angle on the enemy. And the best way to do that is just change position within the cap area. You can go up on the ramp, but it is dangerous. It might attract fire, because the enemy might see you. And, of course, if you knock a tree down, that will also highlight you to the enemy. But if you move away from the spot where the tree is, you should be able to get a shot on them. Okay, just saw an enemy tank hiding behind that, and it's a Shure MV7X. Direct hit with his first shot. In fact, it was a penetrating shot for 1,230, and that's a high roll. A very high roll indeed. 330 hit points over the high roll. That Shure MV7X is all but dead. You don't often expect to get a high roll, but when you do get one, yes, it's probably the best high roll in the world. That's another good one. 449 on the T54E1. He's moving about enough to actually throw the enemy off. They won't be able to get a counter battery on him if unless they were very, very lucky, because he moves about. And it's also that he's searching for the best firing position as well. He suspects that the enemy Arty might be in the spot where he was just looking, but he didn't see any tracer, so he's decided to go back to shooting at the enemy. He also found that he couldn't get a shot directly on the target he wanted at that moment, so instead he's changing position again and extends his range or his aim. T832 Terminator tank. Lines it up, and he's moving in. Rounds out. Looks good. Direct hit right on the side for 360. Now, so far we can see that Shure MV7X is not a happy bunny. In fact, he's not the only one, because there's a Kampfpanzer 55 making their way up onto the level just north of the bowl. Now, he could come in this direction. We're still loading at this moment. Rounds out. And there goes the T832 as the first kill. Or at least the first kill for fingernail clipping. The danger is now that he might be facing that Shure MV7X, but no, he gets wiped out by the Bisonte C45 up on the ramp. So that was good. There's still that Kampfpanzer 55 though. We've lost sight of him. The good news is we've got some teammates coming back near the cap area, and E55 as well has come back, and well, so long as he's there, we should be able to be safe. We just saw the tracer coming out from this spot. So one of the enemy Arty, well, the enemy Arty, because there is only one, another M53, M55 was in that position. Yes, he did knock the trees down, but he's actually doing it to provide more cover for himself, just in case the enemy comes in this area, and also to prevent the enemy from counter-batterying, because they won't know which tree he was behind. There'll be so many trees knocked over, it will make it pointless looking for him. Two enemy tanks down in the bowl. He finds snap at the Scorpion. Sometimes you just have to take a snapshot just on the off chance that the shell might hit the target. Unfortunately, it didn't in this occasion. It missed. But he won't be too worried about that. He's really been doing the beaver work, you might say. Knocking all those trees down for a reason. Beavers, the biggest wood engineers in the world. Rounds out in the T-32. 224 hit points, it's worthwhile. They're 2 up on the enemy at the moment. They're pushing them back. The only one I might be worried about is actually the ice road, because at the moment we've only got a BZ-68 down there facing off against an XM57 and a T-54E1. You can see the ramp up on the enemy end of the map. And he's direct hits on the Shrek. And he also does some damage as well to the Felice, who happens to be close by. BZ-68's now got help. He managed to defeat the XM57, and he's now got the E-55 to back him up as they make their way towards the enemy camp. And this is where it gets really exciting, because they're 4 up on the enemy now, and there are some enemy tanks that we can hit near their ramp. There's one. The police rounds out. Like coming in, direct hit. 173. Very good accuracy. Can see that they're making a last stand, you might say. There's a lot of them, and the enemy Arty has just been spotted. He was where we last thought he was, but it looks like he's gone over the edge of the cliff. In fact, he has now been spotted, and he made a last stand. So at least the guy has the honor to make a last stand, try and get a few more hit points before this battle closes. Only 4 enemies left. The T-54 gets a hit, but he gets hit in return for 433. The Felice is still alive. He came down from the top of the hill. It doesn't look as if he's going to stay alive for long, though. And yes, he's out the game as well. The Gonkavitska gets him. So we've only got 2 enemies remaining, a Kari and a Shrek. The Shrek's gone over in the corner. And the Kari's just been spotted. We're looking. Well, we just lost our E-55, and now we're looking around. There's the Kari. We've got no shot on the Kari. Not from this angle. And that's annoying, because the BZ-68 just died. So now it's 3 versus 2. With the fingernail clipping being the 3rd player. So it's 2 versus 2 at the other end. But of course, fingernail clipping is that extra element that makes it more dangerous for the enemy, because shells will be coming down on top of the enemy. You can see our Gonkavitsa is very badly wounded. Kari might try to take advantage of that, go up the ramp. He is up the ramp. We're not loaded yet, but he is up there. Okay, let's see if we can put a round up there. The Shrek dies. Kari's coming to the edge. Rounds out. Lands next to the Kari. I'm pretty certain that was next to him. Yes, he has been damaged. He's stunned. Unfortunately, he does kill the Gonkavitska. And now we're loading to try and get a last shot in. Meanwhile, the Scorpion, who's got virtually no armor, is trying to face off against the Kari. And the Kari's, well, he's dashing away, trying to get to a position where he can use the scenery against us. Well, we're going to put a round on top of him. Rounds out. Long shot. Oh, it's a kill shot too! And he's won the game! Fantastic work! Here's the end of battle stats, and that was an ace tanker game for a fingernail clipping in the M53 M55. He got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits in that game. He managed to get 13. He got a Gauze medal for doing more damage, exceeding 8 times the hit points for his own vehicle. He got a high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game, and I suspect he probably picked that up right at the end when he killed the last enemy. And on top of that, he got a Confederate hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. His win rate in that game, 6,440. You don't often see Arty players getting that high, but when you do, it's very satisfying to know that you've done it. Let's have a look at team score. Well, definitely got the highest damage in the game, and he did actually earn it from a very nice shot on that Kari, who happens to be the second highest damage in the game. We see that Fingernail Clipping managed 4,807, and the Kari managed 4,513. In third place, we've got the T-34 on our team, who managed a Confederate and 2,660. Oh, actually, sorry, I'm wrong. It wasn't that guy. It was the Felice on the enemy team with 2,700. He was third place. So when it came to kills, we can see it was actually the Felice with 5 kills. The Kari managed 4. And then we've got 2 players on our team. The Gonkavica and the Scorpion both got 3 kills apiece. And the Fingernail Clipping in 4th place with 2 kills, along with the KV4. And on the enemy team, their Kampfpanzer 55 ton. When it came to base XP, it's a Fingernail Clipping, yes. 1,126 went to him. 1,064 went to the KV4. 1,011 went to the Gonkavica. And 1,004 went to the Scorpion in 4th place. They were the only 4 players who managed to make it over 1,000 base. And very well played. And, of course, Fingernail Clipping got the highest. So he was highest on damage and on base XP, but just missed out on the number of kills. When it came to base XP, details rather, not base XP, he actually got 13 shots off in that game, 7 direct hits on the enemy, 1 penetrating shot, which of course we saw right at the start of the game. That was the Shure 4, who took a big hit, and 4,807 hit points of damage, all of it at more than 300 meters. He damaged 8 of the enemy, killed 2, and he did 1,024 hit points of stun assist off 9 stuns. On a free-to-play account, he actually made a profit of 13,012 credits for the game, and he also picked up 1,126 experience points. In fact, that's base XP in this battle as well. So a very, very good result. But it's not the only battle that he sent in. A Fingernail Clipping's been particularly active just recently, and he sent me another replay. So let's have a look at that one. The second replay is on the south spawn of Cliff, and this time round it's the Bat Châtillon 155-55. Well, as you can see, he's got 2 marks of excellence on this one too. Only 1 prototype was actually made of this Arty. And as I said on a previous video, actually, it's one of 3 Artys that has the ability to turn the turret all the way around 360 degrees. The other one being the Bat Châtillon 155-58 and the SU-26. Amy, if anyone going up the hill, you're going to get a nasty surprise if they do. I've seen enemy tanks completely wiped out with 1 round. Rounds out. That hurt. That was a penetrating shot, all right. In fact, we can see that the alpha for the standard stunner shells is 680, but he hit that one with an extra HE for 830, and he actually got 842, which means he got a high roll. Now, he went down into that little bush, but it landed short. Yes, there's a lot of advantage actually to using the non-stun HE if you're actually got teammates who are actually in the clinch with another enemy and you don't want them to be stunned. But it's also, if you've got enemy tanks where you know you can hit them, you can actually do a fair bit of damage with 830 alpha and 56mm of pen. Well, I don't know if you noticed, but the enemy Arty, which happens to be a Bat Châtillon 155-55 and an M53 M55, both fired, or at least one of them fired in this general direction. You can see they just hit the ground nearby us. So they know where we are, because they worked out from the tracer where he was, but he moved away and avoided any damage. Okay, wait until the turret to turn round. The biggest advantage, of course, of this Arty is the ability to shoot in one direction and fire in another. And there's another shot, but it missing us. Oh, he just killed the Tessac! He just killed the Tessac with that shot. Again, using the non-stun HE on that one. He's actually switched to stun HE now. Well, the Tessac is a goner, so he's got his first kill of the game. In fact, it is the first kill of the game. And again, he's moved position. And again, the enemy was near, but not close enough. In fact, now we've got the enemy firing in this general direction. So he's under intense fire from counter battery. And it's definitely coming from that corner. No doubt about that whatsoever. So he'll fire one back to try and keep them suppressed. But if he's the smart players, of course, are the ones who keep active on the enemy tanks, not the enemy Arty. Yes, you can usually suppress them with one shot. But if you keep firing at the enemy tanks, it's really does tell on them in the end. And that was very accurate as well. Listen for that distant rumble. That's the enemy firing in this direction. I think the enemy is changing position altogether. And the reason I say that is because he didn't fire, even though he must have been loaded by now. Okay, we're going to go for this Object 705A. Rounds out and it hit the cliff. We can also see the Bat Châtillon 155 did get damaged because he's up on the plateau area just below the sniper's nest. And it looks like he might have been hit by some of our teammates in a different direction. That's a solid hit on the Object 705. So I think there's only one enemy Arty at the moment who's even considering counter battery, and that will be the M53, M55, with the Bat Châtillon unable to now that he's out of position. Now would be a good time to be in the other type of shell, but he's rounds out. On this occasion, he fired with what he had. Well, that Object 705 went down to the DBV 152, and now we're loaded ourselves, going for the lure. Put one right up his rear, 219. Now the scores are relatively even, but it's quite interesting where the Arty have deployed to. Our 212 is just at the front of the cap area, and it seems the enemy tanks are actually ignoring him altogether. Rounds out. Oh, that hurts. 271 hit points of damage, and he took the enemy out. The white dragon is gone. Okay, he went into cover there briefly. You can see both enemy shots are actually going on our tanks. And now we know where the M53 is, and he just got hit. So both enemy Arty are actually in grave danger. We're going for the waffle. Oh, and he's gone as well. That's 3 kills now for fingernail clipping. So they've only got one Arty left. We did get spotted. It's the LC-M90, and he's trying to get at us. Here he comes. We're not loaded. Not yet, but we are now. Okay, we just got hit. We tried to shotgun him. Now we're trying to ram him. We need some help from our teammates. We're squashing him. We could crush him. He is taking crush damage. He's holding him in place, letting his teammates do something to get here. They're not coming, but we can certainly cause him a lot of grief. Oh, he shotgunned him. What a way to kill the enemy. Flip them over, hold them on their side, wait until you're loaded and then blast them at close range. I reckon that ELC driver must have been feeling a bit, well, annoyed. In fact, it looks like the Waffentractor was trying to fire at us. Afterwards, he must have been on the receiving end of calls for help from his teammate. And in fact, the Waffle has run off. Now he's facing off against our Manticore, whilst the Viz-55 comes around the other side of the hill. So the Donut is going to get a squash. And there goes the Waffle, and that's the end of the game. It's a victory. Here's the end of battle stats, and I was told that this replay had a very funny ending, and he's not wrong there. That was very, very funny indeed. That was an ace tanker game again for a fingernail clipping, this time in the Bat Chat 155-55. He got a fighter badge again for getting at least 4 kills. He also picked up a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In this one, he managed to get 9. He got a Starks medal this time for taking 2 shots from the enemy, at least 2/3 of his hit points lost, and staying alive at the end of the game, having killed at least 2 enemy tanks in the process. And on top of that, he got a Gauze medal for doing more damage, exceeding 8 times the hit points of his own vehicle. His win rate from this one, 5,639, another high one. Let's have a look at team score. Well, we can see the highest damage in this game actually went to that Waffenträger. He got a high caliber and 5,706 hit points of damage, but he couldn't save his mate in the ELC M90 from being squashed to death and then shotgunned by fingernail clipping. Second highest damage was the Viz-55, who got the kill on the Waffenträger. He got 4,069 hit points. And the third highest, well, that turns out to be a fingernail clipping, who got 3,698 hit points, but he had to pick up all the bits of ELC M90 that were stuck to his tracks at the end of the game. When it came to kills, it was, yes, the Viz-55, 5 kills to him. 4 kills went to the Bat Chat 155-55, and 2 kills went to the SU-130PM on his own team. And on the enemy team, their Waffenträger, their Object 705A, their other Waffenträger, and of course the ELC M90, what was left of him. And when it came to base XP, yes, he's got that one too. So he's got the top in, well, 2 of the columns. He missed out on the third by the Viz-55 getting 1 more kill. 1,047 went to a fingernail clipping, 1,008 went to the Viz-55, and then it was shared by all the other ones. Well, 894 to the SU-130PM. He fired 14 rounds in this game, got 11 direct hits on the enemy and 5 penetrations, 6 splash. So it was a heavy penetration game. And of course, the ELC M90 was one of those that was very heavily penetrated. 900 hit points he earned off the guy, and I'm sure that ELC thought certain that he'd got a kill because he found an Arty on his own. He didn't expect the Arty to fight back and try and grapple with the guy and then flatten him against the wall. The other tank that he wiped out was another Waffenträger, and it was this guy who goes by the name of WW Outlaw WW. I think, yes, he's trying to emphasize his name. But he also got penetrated for 271 as he was going down the side of the cliff. And the other Waffenträger also got penetrated for 266. So it was a penetration city. The Tessac took 2 pens, 2 for 1,400 hit points. So I reckon all of the Tessac went to a fingernail clipping. Going back to the detail, we can see that he did 3,698 hit points of damage, of which 2,798 were at more than 300 meters. The difference being, of course, the ELC M90, who was pressed steel at the end of the game. 3 hits received from the enemy, all from the ELC, 2 penetrations, 1 non-penetration, and 7 enemy vehicles were damaged, 4 were killed, 1,340 hit points of stun assist off 6 stuns. On a free-to-play account, he actually made 1,322 credits profit from the game. He also picked up 30 bonds for a mission achievement and 2,094 experience points out of that one as well. What a great game it was. That one was very, very amusing right at the end. And so, yes, 2 great replays by fingernail clipping, showing how boss he is on the enemy tanks. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.